Hello guys, welcome to episode 2 of season 1 system design Navyatra. Imagine you went to a cafe and in the cafe there is only one counter. And during the rush hours, the cafe becomes overwhelmed with the people and the counter becomes overwhelmed. So the person who is handling all the bills or all the interactions with the customer will get a lot of load. And what will happen? There will be a huge line and the customers will also, you can say, not satisfied with the service because they want quick services. Right? So in the same sense, during our services, when multiple hits are coming to a server or to a service, the server or services can become overwhelmed. And this is known as load. Now, how do we divide this load? We coin a term called load balancing, where what we can do, we can add multiple counters to our cafe, where there will be multiple people who will be handling all the customers. So in the same sense, we will have something known as load balancers. You can think a load balancer like a traffic light or a traffic police. What it is going to do, it is going to decide where the incoming request will come from and where it will be going. So in the same sense, when we talk about load balancing means sharing work so that everything remains fast, everything remains smooth, and the system goes on without any hiccups. Now also there are multiple benefits. For example, let's suppose if one service crashes, there are multiple servers or multiple counters when we talk about real time to handle the request. So in a nutshell, load balancing means sharing work so no one gets overwhelmed or overloaded. Caching means storing something in a nearby quick access. So whenever you need it, you get it fast and smooth. So for example, let's take example of our own household. Let's suppose we consume atta or pulses, or let's say we consume milk. It can be soap as well, which we frequently use on a day-to-day basis. So what we do, we go to a grocery store and we try to buy that in bulk for let's say 15 or a month. You can say a consumable for a month in advance. So next time when we need atta or when we need a soap to use, what we do, we instead of going to a grocery store, we pick it from the cash reserve that we have. And that is nothing but known as cash. So cash can be a drawer where your consumables are present. So in the same sense, when we talk about the data in a system, instead of searching again and again, we keep a copy of it close by in a fast memory. It can be different memories that we'll talk about in the later videos. In a nutshell, caching means keeping a quick copy nearby to access it instantly. Partitioning or sharding means breaking a huge data set into smaller pieces. So for example, let's take there are 200 students in one class. Let's say it is class 10th. So what we do generally in schools, because managing 200 students in one class is very difficult. So what we do, we generally divide 200 students into 4 or 5 sections. These sections are known as shards. Or in the same sense, let's suppose we buy a cake and we try to split those cakes or that cake into some slices. It can be slice of 8, can be 10 for easy distribution, and these slices are known as shards. And in the same concept, when we talk about sharding or partition, it means breaking a big thing into smaller chunks. So in a nutshell, sharding or partitioning means breaking or dividing a huge chunk into smaller parts for easy access and faster access. Rate limiting means putting a limit to number of times you can use or someone can use something. For example, we might have visited some events and there we might have got some coupons. So for one coupon, we can have access to only X number of items or X number of times. For example, Let's suppose if we went to an event concert where we can have two members on one ticket, or if we could have gone to some food venues where for one token we will have only one person able to access that service or food services. So in the same sense, rate limiting means we put a limit on how many requests can hit a server or how many requests a server can process at a time. Now it does help us in a lot of things. First, it avoids overloading. Second, it makes sure it prevents the misuse of the service. Third, it avoids or it clears all the spams. So in a nutshell, rate limiting means making a rule that limits the use of something or some service by someone for X amount of time or for X duration or during a specific time. So in day-to-day life, we have seen that generally we get around 1.5 GB or 2 GB data based on our plan. And once we consume that data, we have observed that our data generally runs. It doesn't stop us from using the data, but the speed of internet is very slow. We cannot download very fast. It is in KBs, but we can use some apps like WhatsApp or other apps which are messaging apps. So here what is happening? Although it is not allowing us, the companies are not allowing us to access the internet in full, but also they're not stopping us in utilizing that data as well. So what they're doing, they're trying to make us or make the service slower for us to access. In the same sense, when we talk about throttling means you can use it at a slower pace, but they won't stop you from using it. So for example, if an API is overwhelmed by a lot of requests, so what they're going to do, they're going to slow you down. They're not going to stop you. If there were 100 requests coming to a server at a particular second, now it is going to slow those requests and it is going to make sure that, let's say, 10 requests are hitting. So throttling means it is making you slower, but it is not stopping you. Observability, as the name suggests, means observing or knowing what is happening in the system or in a server. So imagine you have some health issues and you are going sick for some days. You visit a doctor. Now what doctor is going to do? Doctor will try to observe your state and doctor will try to know what is happening inside your body. And how doctor is going to do that? It is via test. It can be blood reports, can be X-ray if you have some bone-related issues, or it can be some different other tests like CT scan, MRIs. So in the same sense, when we talk about systems, there are different things that help us know what is happening in a service or inside a system. We can name them as logs, they can be metrics, they can be alerts, or they can be traces. Now all of them mean something different. What is observability? Observability means knowing what is happening inside the server or a service or set of services or the entire system itself. Congratulations guys on making it to the end of this video. For further learning of the topics, you can check out episode 3 of this series. I will see you in that video.